Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in the F2 cars at a very wet Mexican circuit. It is, surely that's got to be wet weather tires, right? If that was F1 time, that would be wet weathers in my opinion, I would say. You know who I am, and you know who's my usual commentator, and he's back again this week for the third to last time this season. It's my dude, Safso. How you doing?
I'm a bit drier than the drivers out track are about to be. How are you?
Yes. I also, too, am drier than the track is. These guys are really going to be struggling in the circuit. I mean, the snaky section in general anyway is really tough. Even in dry conditions, you chuck in the wets, oh, it is less than fun, let me tell you. But we have 13 drivers here today. A bit quieter than normal, mainly because there is a bit of an event going on at the minute. Which is another reason why you've not seen Hayden here. He's trying to solo a 24-hour race. Yeah, he's mental, I know. But that means he's not going to win today. But Beaker's here, so I'm going to ask you, who's your 1, 2, 3?
For qualifying, I think it's going to be... I think Beaker's at least going to be up there. I'm not sure about pole, because we have seen he's been a bit weaker in the wet sometimes. But for a safe bet, I'm going to say him for pole. But I'm open to the fact that that might not be a thing. Lando's second, Tommy P third.
Okay. See, I've actually got full faith in my boy Lando's. I actually think he's a very good driver in general. Adding into the wet conditions, he just seems to be... I know, he just seems to be on his game. So I'm actually going to give him P1. I think Beaker's going to get P2, and I think Kolmanic is P3. I think he's just... he seems to be really enjoying himself, at least right now. But P2, as it sits, he's comfortable. It's just when it comes to do this section here, this is the place where lots of people are going to invalidate. We've already lost 3 people. That's Matt, Burrito, and Welsh Toast. No one else yet has invalidated, it looks like. So they're going to be continuing until the end of this lap. But now you're coming into the stadium complex, which when you are, when you hear this in the actual F1, it is so ecstatic to hear the crowd roar as they come through. And Lando's moment now with only 1 proper corner to go. He's still holding on to that pole position. Can he get the 4 points he needs? Today's the day. He might get the perfect weekend because across the line he goes to set a huge lead. 1.5 second gap to Beaker in P2 and then Kolmanic in P3. And I nailed the prediction. Perfect.
Yeah, well done. You are the one who got the 100% this time.
I did. It won't happen again, but, who knows?
You never know, you got around the first time. No reason why you can't get it again.
Yeah, that's true. I'm curious to see now how the weather's going to be going into the race, because obviously if it follows suit for what happens in the quali, then it's going to be a majestic race, let's just say that. But yeah, Lando's Millman on pole position with a 1.4 second gap to P2, which is Beaker. Then Kolmanic P3, Marquez P4, Tommy P P5 with Raymond Duck P6, Aeterno P7, Markin P8, WG Players P9 with Foxy, who got the DQ, but he does round out the top 10 with Matt there P11, Burrito P12, and the Welsh Toast P13, all of which didn't get a time on the board or invalidated. So, I want to wait for the weather first before I chuck you in the deep end, Safso, because I think realistically we are looking to see if it's going to be wet or not, because that will affect and influence our decision as to whether or not we believe... Well, it's dry.
It's dry.
But not looking particularly warm.
Yeah, it's very cloudy. It could definitely transition to rain at some point.
So if I was to give you a 1, 2, 3 prediction, you'd give me a?
I'd give you... Lando's keeping the win, because I think Beaker's going to get spun round. I'm going to say Kolmanic P2. And I need to remind myself. I'm going to say Marquez third.
Alright, okay. I actually... This isn't for podium, but I actually am predicting Ravenduck to do well in this race.
Okay.
I don't know why, though. If you were to ask me... Give me a logic. I genuinely couldn't give you. I have no idea. I just have that gut feeling. And I like to go with my gut feeling because quite often it's actually pretty much on the ball. I think, looking at the predictions today, I think, from my perspective, I think Lando's right. I think he's going to keep the P1. I don't think Beaker's going to get a span. But I do think he is going to finish in P2. P3, though, for me, it's a toss-up. I can't really tell between Kolmanic or Marquez. But I think, you know what? I'm going to stick with as is.
Okay, so you think no one's going to be in any positions in the top 3?
I think there's going to be a lot of battling, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think it's going to be as is.
Okay. We shall see who is correct at the end.
Yeah, exactly. The drivers are now getting the tyres warmed up, making sure they are as ready as possible for this GP. Lando's Milkman obviously leading his way around. I think this is the first time he's led in the F2s in RNL. I think he's always just kind of kept himself pretty chill for the most part, but today in particular, he is giving it the big one up at the front.
Yep, and this would be his first win, wouldn't it, considering he's never led before?
I don't know. I think is he not won one before?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's won one before, but if he hasn't led before, then I'd find it very unlikely that he's won one.
Oh, he nearly lost the cat.
Unless it was on penalties. He might have won one on penalties.
Maybe. I think he's won one through his own driving ability, though.
Okay. So that might just be one we're forgetting.
Yeah. But now we are coming through the final corner, getting ourselves back into the grid boxes, and then about to get ourselves underway with this Grand Prix here. Lando's Milkman being at the front. The problem is, P1 is less than ideal, to be honest, on this track. The run-up towards turn 1 is huge, and it's so hard to defend. We've seen in real life a few times where it can all end in tears if it doesn't quite get set up correctly. But you can see in the distance there, the drivers are getting themselves ready for this Grand Prix. We'll see who can be the race leader as we approach towards turn 1 in just a few moments' time. Right there, here we go. So they're on the grid, the lights are on. We are about to get underway with the Mexico GP. Lando's Milkman, have you got the start of dreams? And away we go. It looks like Lando's has got a pretty good start. I think Bika's actually just slightly better. But it looks also like Cool Manic might be ready to fight too. Tommy P has actually climbed against Marquez. He's up to P4 now. Charging up towards turn 1. This is going to be very scruffy, I think. We're going to be seeing a lot of issues coming into it. 4 wide going in towards turn 1. There they are. There's contact. Marquez has been rotated. That was Tommy P. There's a bit of contact onto him. Yellow flags. No spins. Oh, tell light. That looks like Matt has actually been rotated. He's been knocked down to P12. Going back up to the race leader. The Lando's Milkman's lost out. Cool Manic up to P1.
Yeah, but for how long Lando's is still there, he's gone pretty deep in. Now on the inside line, Cool Manic's going to have the better exit. And so the double right hand over Beaker's going to be there to try and capitalize. Doesn't dive it down the inside. He's just staying back for now. And Lando's takes back P1. Yeah,
beautiful run there from Lando's Milkman to regain the race lead and also then just try and manage it. There's been contact. Beaker's been tapped. And there's about to be a crash. Oh my word, that was so close. Everybody just dip, dive, and dodged out of the way of Beaker there to avoid any damage. Now Beaker, yes, he has fallen down to P11. You know, exclamation mark Beaker blow in the chat. But I promise you, he's Gucci in terms of the damage. Welsh Toast even is not okay. He's actually right at the back of the grid now, along with Brito Bandita. You got WG players and Marquez having a little bit of a fight. Tommy P with a 2-second time penalty. Should hopefully not affect him too much, but we are going to have to see now as we come again onto the long home straight. Who is going to be at the top of their game? Fox is in the pits, it looks like. No, he's not. He's still P5. It's still telemetry's bug.
Yep.
But he's going for a move on Ravenduck, though. Down the inside. Moving towards turn 1. Ravenduck's going to be left high and dry. Yeah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy overtake. Even without the effect of DRS helping him, he still managed to pull that one down.
Nice move. And next up is that... Who was that ahead?
I think race leaders are actually pretty close together right now. It looks like Lando's Milkman has done a fantastic job to regain his lead in this race, but he is being hunted down by, like I say, Cool Manic, who is feeling very quick. He's actually looking very consistent too, so far.
And as we know in F2, consistency is king. And at this track, consistency is king. Especially through this section, he's had a bit of an iffy through there. He's regained it. This could very well be one on penalties. This is a track that promotes it. It promotes really pushing the track limits quite a bit more than at some other tracks. And could be a similar situation to USA.
Yeah, penalties are less than ideal, let's be honest, when it comes to the circuit. But the gap between the race leaders and P3 onwards is about, what's that, 2-3 seconds-ish. Ravenduck's got a penalty added to his end of the race, so he's going to be down 2 extra seconds. We are now on lap 3. Telemetry is now updated, and it's 4.3 seconds, the gap between P2 and P3. Foxy didn't get a particularly good exit coming out of the final corner, so it is allowing Tommy P to hold on to P3 for now. But we do have Beaker going for a move here on Marquez. He's actually alongside of him, coming towards turn 1's braking zone. Beaker's going to go a little bit later on the brakes, and he should be able to get himself through. Marquez did turn across him a bit early. Bit of contact between the two of them, but that has still allowed Beaker to hold on to P7, and they will continue as is, as Rwagnashion's getting more penalties.
Yeah, looks like he's falling foul to the track limit so far, and how far back? That would put him down to about 8th, wouldn't it, at the moment, which I don't think you mind too much, because that'll give him reverse pole, but it's a bit more beneficial to get the higher points from this race, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing you got to think about is that there'll be other people getting penalties too, so it might not be the end of the world. He may lose less places, shall we say, but yeah, there's also a big battle going on. It's been going on for a little while here between Tommy P and Foxy. The opportunities could open up here for Rwagnation if this goes a little bit awry. There's been a DRS wing wide up, and now this is going to be Foxy trying to squeeze down the inside as Tommy P squeezed him to the inside. Now Foxy's got the line. Tommy P just came a little bit too early there on the rotation. Rwagnation's actually managing to fight off Ayrton. They are side by side coming into the stadium complex. Ayrton's got a bit deep. There's going to be contact. Yep, that was expected, and no damage on either driver, but Rwagnation will regain P5. Tommy P, though, has lost out to Foxy, but I think he's got DRS. Yes, he does. So he should be able to close that gap right on down. Maybe even get him.
Yeah, it's very possible. He's got a very big gain. I think he's going to go for a turn 1 down the inside. They both actually very similar points. We don't see that often. Oh, and he's had a rotation.
Yeah, I think Foxy just turned a bit too early there, and that anyway, it was. I think he left maybe a bit less than he probably should have done. Space. Yeah, I think there needed to be a little bit more, but yeah, for me, Foxy just turned a bit too early there, and that caused that rotation. But this is a bit of a spicy battle going on here, because you got P4, which is Rwagnation, Ayrton P5, Beaker P6, and then you got Marquez P7. All very close to each other, but they're all having their own little battles here. You got the back two fighting their own little squabble, which is Marquez going for a move down the inside of Beaker. Very well done there from him. Then you got Beaker, who cut back on him earlier. Rwagnation's trying to fend off Ayrton for the rest of this race. But this is looking really good for Rwagnation.
Yeah, and up front, Cormanic is close to half a second behind Landers. It was just over a second I saw before, but now half a second. I reckon he's going to have to have a go on the main straight down to turn 1. As Ayrton's got past Rwagnation down the inside. Nice simple move. I think Rwagnation will just sit back for the DRS. No, he's going through the hairpin. No, he's back. Yeah, no, he is just waiting for the DRS by the looks of it. But look at Beacon. He's gone down the inside. He's capitalizing now. Marquez. He's going to go for it as well. Oh, chicane. What's that? 3 positions lost in a few corners for Rwagnation.
Just a bit too opportunistic, it looked like there. Rwagnation also losing out on a lot of time that he just didn't need to lose. Marquez did get a penalty though, so that is one sort of saving grace that comes out of this. And he can actually regain his position as well here on Marquez, but it is going to be an outside maneuver. He's going to have to try and carry a lot of momentum through, and I think he's actually looking... He's going to try and stick around the outside. It's going to be really tough to fight through here. Turn 2 and 3, that's why they have contact. Yeah, I think Rwagnation probably wanted to back out of that one and kind of go for either a cutback of dreams or wait for the next DRS zone, because now you've lost too much of a gap to P4 and 5.
Yeah, and I think that battle proves it's better to be on the inside for turn 1, so you have a better line through 2 and 3, and you don't just get squeezed out like Rwagnation did there. As Beaker spun on his own.
Yep. Falling down to P7. He's having a nightmare of a race. I mean, he said he was going to get spun, but we didn't think it was going to be twice in one race, so... Freebie there for Rwagnation, but now he's got 6 seconds of penalties. This is going to really affect his race as it goes further on. Marquez holding out in P5. Beaker getting a penalty of his own as well. Let's have a quick look at the penalty situation, actually. So Marquez has 2 seconds, Rwagnation has 6, Beaker has 4, Tommy P has 7, WG Players has 2, and Burrito has 2.
And that actually means if Rwagnation can pull a 2-second gap on Beaker, which isn't overly likely, but if he can actually stay ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, I did suspect that Rwagnation was going to do well here today. Whether or not I just got a bit too excited and was talking a lot of waffle or not, I guess we'll have to wait and see. We do still have 4 more laps, 5 if you include the remainder of the one that they're on right now, but he is gaining back onto Marquez once more. And I think Marquez running in the free air, he's actually done a good job of slightly bringing Ayrton a bit closer. The gap didn't look like it was improving through there, but I think Marquez is running that with 1-1 wings.
Definitely lower downforce by the looks of it, yeah, and I think Lando's might be as well, because Cormanic still isn't really catching him. He hasn't really got any closer than 4/10 on the straights. So either he just isn't getting the toe that he needs, or Lando's got very low downforces. Was he letting Beaker through, or was that just a mistake on his end?
A bit of both. Bit of both. Definite mistake. He ran wide unnecessarily on the exit, and then he saw that Beaker was coming. He said, "Look, just go, enjoy." Matt and WG players are having their own little battle as well. This is still for points, regardless. Ravenduck's crashed.
No, he has. He's manually retired. He just pulled over to the side.
Oh,
manually retired.
Ravenduck. Why did he retire? You only had penalties. Nothing else was wrong. You were doing so well.
He probably would have got reverse pole if he kept going.
Exactly. He's just told me he can't race. I'm not sure why that. He's got default
set up.
Unbelievable. Alright, well, Beaker is on the back of Marquez. Marquez is under some serious threat here. Beaker's still giving it the big one. He's charging all the way down towards turn 1. He should be ahead when we get to it. Yes, he is. And then Beaker now, P5, but still 2.5 seconds back. And everybody ahead of him doesn't have a penalty. So realistically, P5 is the best that Beaker can hope for right now.
Yeah, and that's if Marquez gets another penalty, because at the moment Marquez will jump him. And I think if Matt gains about 7/10 or so on Tommy P, he'll gain his position. Which I'm not sure if he'll win, because reverse pole will be... Actually, no, this one's pretty... Pole has been useful.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lando's had to fight for it even harder than he necessarily wanted. Yes, he's regained it, but like that run in towards turn 1, Kulmanik looked really good, and it was... coming out of turn 3, that he started to feel even better, and then Lando's just somehow managed to recover it and bring himself back into race lead. I mean, yes, they are and have been fighting for quite some time to try and swap places, but Kulmanik just doesn't seem to have the exit, especially when he does that. Lando's moment, yeah, he takes it a little bit more gently and doesn't quite maximize the exit at the speed out of the corner, but it's enough to be consistent, it's enough to get a smooth exit, and he's still able to hold on to race lead even after this huge DRS straight. Yeah.
And I've noticed that while being on Kulmanik a bit, that he's struggled a bit on the exits, especially through this bit last lap. He was all over the place on the rear end. Bit better this time. I think he's slowly understanding he needs to be a bit more careful to throttle if he wants to have a better go on the straights. This is the closest he's actually been for a while now. So if he can just not have any slippy exits, stay to the back of him, he might even have a go on the DRS straight going through into the last sector.
Yeah, possibly. Well, we'll see now how they do. Remember, they do have 2 more laps to do after this one. We'll see if they can keep it as clean as they have been. No penalties for the top 4 whatsoever. Understeer left, right and centre for Kulmanik. He's run wide. That might have been a warning. That looked like it should have been a warning.
I can actually have a quick check. No, the only 2 warnings he's had are on the first 2 laps.
Alright, well he is 1 warning away then from that penalty, which won't really affect him too much. He will lose his opportunity to take the race lead. Again, he's just getting his back end out a bit too much, and that's caused him to lose way too much time on this back straight. He's not going to be in a position to attack now.
Lando's also has 2 warnings.
It could go either way.
It very well could.
I also want to keep an eye out on this P3 battle, because yes, it's 11.5 second gap between P3 up towards P2. Oh, mistakes from Kulmanik. That's not the way you want to take that. But they're all still really close together. Eterno is very much being chased down by Beaker, whilst also trying to chase down his teammate Foxy.
Well, they're not... Are they teammates?
They're in the same class of car. Sorry, same manufacturer.
Oh, so are they just doing different colours to diversify which driver's which?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I don't like it personally, but...
Yeah, it's a bit off-putting.
Kulmanik has lost a lot of time, and he's got, a penalty. That is big. So Lando's Milkman just needs to be consistent on his way home, keep himself alive and all the way to the end, and he should be able to take this race win here. And actually set himself up quite nicely for the perfect weekend. Let's have a look. Who's got the fastest lap? It is... it's Beaker currently. Half a second faster. Yeah.
Oof. I think Beaker's done that with GRS, so Lando's is really going to struggle to beat that, especially on old tyres.
well, DRS, toe, old tires. Yeah, it's not favouring him very well, I'll be honest. But who knows? Crazy things have happened in the past. We shall see. I reckon we're going to see a fair bit of a scrap here on this home straight, or the slow straight.
Last lap. It's for the last podium position. It's very likely, isn't it, that at least something's going to happen. Eterno pretty close to Foxy. Is he going to go for anything? No, he stays back. It's a locker there. That's not going to help his front right temps. As, of course, you'll be able to read with your eagle vision on the dash.
Yeah. He had 100 on the front left. Everything else seems to be okay. It's Eterno looking for the inside here. Lay on the brakes. He's trying to keep himself as tight as he can to the inside. Beaker almost goes into the back of Foxy as well. This three-way battle is about to get super hot. And you can tell for a fact they all want this P3. They don't care about the reverse position that they'll get in the next race. They want the points. They want the glory. They want that status of being the better of the three drivers. And we'll see which one of them is going to take that title. But further up the field, oh, Beaker's so fast there. And there's a bit of contact with him and Foxy. That was just a bit too aggressive there, I think, from Beaker. This should, though, allow him to get the position. DRS wing wide open. He's going to charge quickly up towards the inside now. This is going to be very difficult for him to make this maneuver stick. He's going to try and throw it in. I think he has just about got him in, but that's Foxy still sticking it through the inside. Beaker's locked up. He's rotated the car, and he's losing out as a result. Lando's Botman takes the win. Kulmanik takes P2. Eterno will come across the line and take the final step of that podium. Whilst my boy Foxy, who will get that P4. Beaker will cross the line in P5. Marquez P6. Although he jumps up on Beaker due to penalties. And you got Tommy P coming through there for a nice cheeky P7. Matt will take P8. And then WG plays. Then Welsh
WG is just over 2 seconds behind. And there's 2 seconds between their penalties, so maybe... No, he's made a mistake in the last corner, never mind. Trying to create some last lap tension.
Unbelievable. And then we'll have Welsh Toast taking the final point position here. So no perfect weekend there for Lando's Milkman. It's not available because he couldn't get the fastest lap. However, he has still done a fantastic job in this race to achieve that race win and still get the pole position fastest lap points from earlier on. So he's already looking like this is very easy for him to take this now. It will require Kulmanik to have an absolutely blinder of a second race and also get the fastest lap points as well.
Yeah, I think he'd literally want either a podium in the next race, and he's pretty much guaranteed the weekend win, no matter what Kulmanik does.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, it does work wonders, to be honest, the way it can play out here. But you've seen the race result. Now let's take a look at the weekend result. As you know, Lando's Milkman has got himself those extra 4 points from the qualifying, so he is on 29, which is 11 ahead of Kulmanik, then Eterno P2, Foxy P4, Marquez P5, Beaker P6, Toby P7, Matt P8, WG Players P9, and Welsh Toes getting that final point. Remember, Beaker did get the fastest lap in that first race, sorry, so he does get 2 points, which puts him on par there with Marquez, so 10 points each. Beaker is he's going to need to really pull his finger on the second race if he wants to ideally take P2 or something.
Yeah, because P1's going to be pretty unreachable now, but he's only got 8 points to second. So if he's able to use that, what's that going to be on the grid third? He should take the win. I imagine it won't be too difficult for him to get past Tommy P and Matt.
Yeah.
So if he gets the win, second's on the cards even. Second's definitely on the cards, and it's a dry race.
Yeah, and it's actually looking pretty sunny here as well, so we'll see. I mean, the tyre compounds that they get chosen for them, because obviously they don't get to choose, it could easily go either way as to see who gets what position and what benefits. You know, I've seen a few people who's been thrown onto a hard compound tyre and you immediately thought, well, their race is done. But in actual fact, I've seen them bring it back on a number of occasions. And it's actually worked wonders. So we shall wait and see as we have only 11 seconds to go before we get into the session. Drivers are already on their grid, just getting themselves prepped and ready for this final race of the F2, guys. And then we'll be moving on to the big F1 race with a nice little juicy highlight video for you. And we had a sneak peek earlier, and it sounded fantastic. I cannot wait. But here we go then with the formation lap for the second race, and for the third time today, and final time today's episode, what is your prediction at the end of this GP?
Bika Marquez Landis.
Yeah, Bika's in a good place, but he was also in a good place at the beginning of the last race, and it didn't go well.
Nope. I think he had, what, 3 rotations during that race?
Yeah. Less than ideal, I think, is the word.
I think he will be much more careful this time, especially as the win is a bit more on the cards, as he has slightly easier opponents at the front now. So I think as long as he does mistakes, he'll get the win. I'm going to say Marquez because his pace looked decent during that first one, and he's higher up. And then with how comfortable Lando's looked during that race, I think he can come through for a P3.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? But I mean, Kulmanik was also pretty rapid. He just had made a couple of mistakes that cost him big time. So, Kulmanik, somebody I'm not looking away from. I think definitely able to get himself into that podium position without a doubt, in my opinion. And I think, there's a fair few people who could easily get themselves in that podium spot. It's just delivering it and also avoiding any carnage. You know, the run here in towards turn 1 is such a long one. You know, 4 wide we were going into turn 1 last race. It's so simple to get yourself into that situation. It's just whether or not you can get yourself back out of it without losing any body parts. Right then, drivers coming through the final corner to get themselves ready to get cracking. We'll see now how this one runs down here at Mexico.
The land of Mexico, Autodromo Jimenez Rodriguez. Or do you know, I literally spent days learning how to say that when the F1 2015 came out.
Right then, here we go for the final time in this season for the Mexico GP. It's go time. Matt has got a pretty good start. It looks like Tommy P was even faster. He was so quick off the mark. He's actually alongside of him already. He's not going to get the toe, but he is going to be that little bit quicker running up towards turn 1. He takes race lead for now. Foxy and Marquez having a little bit of a scrap here. Matt is running a little bit too slow. He's trying to get the toe. Foxy's gone for a lunge down the inside of all of them. He's just about kept himself together. Fantastic move from there. But then he turns in a bit too early, rotates Matt, sends Matt to the back of the grid. And now we're seeing Marquez holding down to P3. Oh, big crash. Huge incident down there. That was, I think, Aoturno. Yes, it was. Aoturno and Bika, unfortunately, getting caught up in the incident. I think Welsh Toast managed to avoid it, but yeah, bit of carnage.
Welsh Toast has pretty much lost all of his left-hand side, and he's lost his right-hand end plate. So wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the pits to repair that. Oh, and now he's lost his whole front wing because he's just rammed into the back of Matt, and he's run him into the wall.
Who did? Welsh Toast?
Yeah, Welsh Toast just ran Matt into the wall. Can't see if he's given him damage. Yes, he has.
Yeah, lots.
Big damage on the left-hand side, and Matt's just cutting the course now into the barrier.
Oh, yeah.
This race is
we're not talking about the YouTuber. We're talking about being thrown into a physical barrier. So, yes. Interesting indeed. Right, Foxy is your race leader. Tommy P is P2. Marquez P3. Kulmanik P4. And this is going to be a busy race, I think. 7 laps of just pure attack. We are on lap 2. I know the telemetry says lap 3. I assure you it isn't. It is lap 2. So DRS has not yet been enabled. We'll see now whether or not it changes up in a short while.
Yeah, and Lando's, he's got the toe on Raven Duck for 6th. So you can go inside or outside, he goes inside, which, as again we saw in the last race, is the better line to take. But Raven Duck, he's actually been able to carry the speed through. Oh, but look at the line he's got. Lando's going to be all over the back of him heading into the next chicane. We'll see, Raven Duck's had a good exit. Raven Duck has actually defended that very well.
Yeah, I mean, into turn 1, he did kind of give him no room. Very, very tight to the inside for turn 1. I mean, Lando's read it perfectly. No issues, really. It could have been way worse than that, but yeah, it's a bit of a tap here. Lando's mum was actually going for a fantastic move past Raven Duck here. Well done to him. That was clean.
Yeah, during both these races, it's almost like Raven's got hair. Sorry. Raven Duck's got so little damage in the race. It almost looks like he has damage, when actually his wing's completely fine. So I wonder if he's running a very stable but very low end front wing setup, because It just constantly looks... I don't know, just something looks off of that car in the corners.
Yeah, it's very strange. But... Oh, somebody's off. That's Komanik. No, a mistake has been made, and he's made a contact with a wall.
He's got damage on the right side.
Yeah, and he's chose not to pit. I think that was a mistake. We'll go back up to our race leader, Foxy, who is leading away from Tommy P and Marquez.
Has Foxy won a race before?
I don't know, you know. I think he might have done. He's definitely had some good results in the past, so we'll have to see. Marquez, though, on the back of Tommy P, looking for the inside, deciding against it. Wise move. Just sit tight for now and wait for Sector 1 to be done and dusted. I can't wait to see the F1 cars at this track, because honestly, it's always a bloodbath. I love seeing it when they attack each other and really push each other to the limit. This is fantastic, but yeah. Mr. Marquez, our resident keyboard player, I think he's on controller today. But he is right here in a podium position. He has got penalties.
They've both got penalties. They both got penalties. And it actually looks like he's on keyboard at the moment, just looking at his steering input.
I don't know. Is he going for the inside? Yes, he is. Marquez up to P2 then. But Tommy P doesn't want to surrender that at all. He's staying right onto the back of him here. This is going to be all about the exit speed. It looks like Marquez might have got a better start initially, but the gap is a bit too close, which does mean that Tommy P will be in DRS and tow range, and there's going to be nothing Marquez can do about it. Tommy P needs to follow into his slipstream so he can gain that extra bit of momentum. He's got the extra momentum. He's got the position, and into the braking zone he goes. Now in P2.
And then this movement down the inside. I think he wasn't expecting WG players to brake as early as he did. Nearly ran into the back of him. But he's got cleanly past, just about. He's up into P4 now. He should surely get at least a podium position, if not second, considering the two aggregates have a penalty, assuming he doesn't get a penalty himself.
We continue as always. 3 laps to go. Foxy, 2.4 second gap. Add to that the penalties that these two have accumulated as well. It's looking very easy for Foxy now. The only way he could lose this is purely by screwing up for himself.
Marquez with the DRS and Tommy A. Turner gets the fastest lap. That's a new one. As Marquez, I think that's a manual retirement.
Oh! Send down the inside in towards the stadium complex.
Oh, he's rotated.
The rotation. That's the risky run when it comes to that area of the circuit. If you go for an inside line, it is very hard all the time. I don't know why you wouldn't just wait for the straight. You've got nothing to lose and a lot to gain.
I think that was a bit of over-eagerness there, really just trying to get the move sooner than absolutely needed. And that's opened up the road for Lando to have a good go at Tommy P now. He's got pretty much 1.5 seconds of fresh air. Well, take away dirty in about a second or so.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like it's just going to be smooth sailing for him to get second now. I think it'll be a bit too far to get the lead now. But 8th to 2nd, I think he can call that a very good race.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like you say, he's pretty much secured the overall weekend win here as long as he doesn't crash out of the Grand Prix. But he also relies on Komanik to score. I mean, Komanik needs to get onto the podium. At least to stand a chance of getting anywhere near Lando's points. Yeah, I think P2's Komanik's here today. There's not a lot. But I mean, Foxy might take it from him, to be honest. Foxy's looking very quick. Oh, Lando's trying to find a little bit of a slip way through on Tommy P. He's got the DRS here. This is surely going to be an easy piece of lemon squeeze maneuver as he gets the DRS wing wide open. He's got the inside line. He's going to go for the late break, and he's going to get that late break locked in. Tommy P will have to fall back and wait it out in P3. Might be able to retaliate at the end of the home straight. We'll have to wait and see.
I think he's at least going to have to give it a go, because if he doesn't, he's just going to fall way behind. He's not had a great last corner. I think broke just a little later than he wanted to. So he's going to try and stay in the slipstream. Going to activate DRS in 3, 2, 1 now. And yeah, he's a bit too far back, at least for this corner. 6 tenths behind, now 5, now 4. Yeah, not soon enough, but if Lando doesn't have a great chicane here, maybe he'll have a chance into the left-hander coming up. no, Landers has had a much better... Yeah, okay. I think that is... Lando's fully secured for P2 now. He can go hunting after the fastest lap.
There is another fight going on for P5. It's Marquez, Ravenduck, Kulmanik, all very much at loggerheads with each other. Kulmanik does have his DRS wing wide open, but obviously so did Ravenduck as well. It has allowed him to close in a little bit on Marquez, who we saw spin earlier, going for a maneuver down the inside into Stadium Complex. Marquez still going to score some good points here today. It's the top 8 that score points in this second race. We'll see whether or not that is going to stay in this order or go to anyone else.
Well, with Ravenduck getting another penalty, it looks like that at least is going to change if Kulmanik can't get past. Ravenduck's had a poor exit out of the squiggly section. Kulmanik's got damage on the left-hand side from him. Yeah. That's going to hurt him, but Ravenduck does have those extra 2 seconds of penalty, so it's a case of... Oh, and he's gone off. Is that going to be another manual retirement? Yeah. Yes, it is.
I think Ravenduck blames himself for that contact, but I don't feel like that was his fault at all. That looked to me like Kulmanik just got caught out and made a mistake.
Yeah, he didn't really prep himself enough for the exit Ravenduck was going to have.
Yeah, exactly. But now, as we are on the final lap, everybody's very spread out. You got 3.4 second gap between Foxy and Lando's Milton. That's not going to change this lap. It might drop a little bit, but realistically, Foxy is going to keep this one together unless he has a bit of a spinal.
Or a penalty, because Lando's is catching at a rapid pace. But I find that highly unlikely. I think he's just going to try and keep it clean, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to try. I think it's the right thing to do, 100%. You know, rather than risk getting that penalty and having to push the car crazy amounts, you just keep it clean, just keep it consistent, avoid the penalty, and you know he's not going to catch you in time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see how carefully he's taking through there, really lifting off the throttle. And it looks like he's just going to cruise home here. Lando's obviously pushing as hard as he can, because that's all he can do. And you can't just magically teleport to right behind him or anything, so... Does fireworks go up? That's it? No, that's confetti, isn't it? Not fireworks. Yeah, I think it'd be a bit more. I think it'd be a bit more dangerous if it was fireworks.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Well, Foxy then coming through the final corner now. He will take the second Grand Prix victory here. Very well done to Foxy. Lando's Milton takes P2 and will more than likely, if my maths is correct, take the overall weekend win, with Tommy P getting himself on the podium for the first time, with WG Plays across the line in P4. Marquez will take P5 with Kulmanik coming up in P6. Burrito Bandito with a couple of corners to go. This is the AI of Burrito Bandito because he did get disconnected through no fault of his own. Will cross the line in P7.
And 35 seconds back. Aeterno on the... Was that ultra soft or super soft? Super soft. Hence how he was able to get the fastest lap in this race. And then Beaker left after that initial collision on lap 1, which was an interesting lap.
Yeah. Oh,
and Eterno's doing donuts.
Yeah, we got some donuts. Who's feeling hungry? Because it looks like Joey Eterno's got some donuts for you all to eat.
$2.99 per donut, 5 if you want to win.
Yeah. That is going to be pretty hot now, though.
Maybe that's what he's going to use to cook the donuts, if that was a thing.
Yeah, just stick the batter on the wheels and then cook it up.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the F2 races. We'll find out exact results in just a momento, and I think, yeah, that's a very fair call on the driver of the day. Lando's Milton, he did such a fantastic job to be from so far back, to climb all the way up to still take P2. Yeah, very, very good job from him. And we'll get the overall weekend confirmation for you right now. Lando's Milton taking that overall weekend win as we expected. 4 points for qualifying, and then he's got the first race and the second race all very well locked in terms of points. A full race win in the first half, and the second round was 12 points for being P2, which means 41 overall. Fox again P2, Kulmanik P3, Aeterno P4, Marquez P5, Tommy P P6, Beaker P7, WG Plays P8, with Matt P9, Welsh Toast, Burrito Bonita P10, Welsh Toast P11, Ravenduck P12, and Markin P13. Well, don't go anywhere, guys and girls, because that might be just the end of the F2s, but it's not the end of the overall broadcast, because we do have the F1 race coming up in just a short while. Stay tuned.